Good morning. I am going over the sword suit of the Rider-Waite Tarot. I'm going to go over what each number means, what each card means, so that by the time we're done talking about it, you could even draw just from the suits deck or the suit of the swords and be able to get some clarity and some knowledge or some truth about wherever you're headed or your friends are headed. This isn't an expert course or an expert dive-in. This is just a brief description of what each card and what each number may mean. And I'll give you enough information over what the numbers mean, pages, swords, kings, all of that jazz, so that you can kind of move that knowledge, transfer it over to the other suits, and kind of put two and two together, so that you don't just learn from the swords, you learn from the cups, the pentacles, the wands, without me even diving into it. So let's go. So before I even go specifically into all of the cards, I'm just going to talk about what each means. So the aces and all the suits mean expansion, opportunities, new beginnings, and initiation. So opportunities, expansion, new beginnings, and initiation. So whenever, and it means now. As a timing card, this is a yes card, and it means now. So this is an opportunity of expansion, clarity, truth, honor, knowledge, a quest for knowledge. This is like something is coming your way. We have a new beginning that's starting in terms of knowledge, intuition. The swords in general represent knowledge, thoughts, communication, truth, epiphany moments, clarity. So anytime we draw any card from the swords, it's going to be talking about your state of mind. So this is a quest for knowledge, an opportunity to expand your mind. And then we're going to go into the page. Pages represent children, youth, lightheartedness, messengers. They are messengers. So in the simplest form, pages could be a message of truth from a younger person. This could be you beginning to speak in a different way, using a different way of speaking. This could be you having lighthearted communication with other people. In the reverse, it would be immaturity, not youth. So lower vibration of communication, or blocked. Being, when you hear people say, oh, that person's blocked, this is probably the card that's coming up. There are a couple of other cards, and I'll get to those, but this is, you might be blocking somebody out, or we'll get to the Queen of Swords, but the Queen of Swords is also cutting people out. So this is blocked. This also represents like people spying online, people watching you online from afar. Like I said, it's lighthearted communication, or it's the lack of communication, but still people trying to pry and butt in and look into you, or look into you in terms of what you're up to. So messenger of truth, lighthearted communication, and there's much more interpretation that this can bring in, but again, I'm being soft and lighthearted with this. So twos represent crossroads, crossing a bridge. They represent regret and fear of making a decision. It talks about fear of making a decision, right or wrong, head over heart, balancing the head and heart. So it is also about balance. It's about compromise. It's about forgetfulness in the lowest vibration, but the highest vibration, even in the highest vibration, it's about a crossroad and a decision that needs to be made, and harmony. So the Two of Swords, and always look at the symbolism in each card, because you may pick out more interpretation from each card. The moon, anytime there's a moon, it means that there is illumination and that there is something hidden. And so in this card specifically, there is a moon, and she's facing away from the water, and she's blindfolded, and she's crossing her heart. She's blocking her heart. her feelings, and she's blocking her visuals, her intuition. So there's a lack of intuition even in the upright of this card. So this person is really not leading themselves to the truth. They're blinding themselves to the truth. So anytime you get the Two of Swords, there's a decision that needs to be made, but this person is blinding themselves to the truth. So you might say that this card represents denial, or it might represent imposter syndrome even, but this is definitely one of the cards that symbolizes denial. So you would say in the reverse, they are being blocked from overcoming their denial, or you could say that they are overcoming their denial. The reverse can be seen as stuck energy or movement. It's up to you as the interpreter, depending on what other cards are around this one. That is what persuades me to kind of say if it's a good or a bad card. But this does say that there needs to be a decision that's made, compromise needs to be made, or compromise has always been made, movement needs to happen. It's a very stuck card. There's resistance here. So let's move on to threes. Threes represent strategy, community, collaboration, effort, strategy as in you're supposed to be moving soon, but you haven't quite got the resources to move. It is definitely a very external card. It's not a retrieval card. So it's let's move, let's get ready to move. So it's about strategy, communication, involvement, integration, celebration. So it does involve other people primarily, not in all the cards, but it does insinuate other people should be involved, or how can you involve other people, but through strategy. And so let's move on to the Three of Swords. So everyone sees this card as heartbreak. So this could mean all of these swords represent mental anguish, and then you have the heart. So it's the mental stability around the heart. So it's not how do I feel towards this, is how can I process these emotions mentally so that my heart can heal. So in that term, it might not mean you physically got heartbroken. I mean, it could definitely mean that, but in my philosophy, whenever you have the Three of Swords, it means that you haven't processed any of the heartbreak, and because you haven't processed it, you may not be talking well about your heartbreak, and so you're re-inviting that wound to come back in, or you just haven't processed any of those things, and you need to be able to express it. You need to be able to express from the heart. There's a blockage from the throat to the heart, or from the mind to the heart. You don't speak from the heart, you don't act from the heart. It goes both ways. So there's a blockage here from how you think and how your heart operates. And it's interesting, this could also mean that there's a lack of circulation, or there could be issues with the heart in the reverse. So arrhythmia, panic attacks, anxiety attacks, insulin sensitivity. This could really have a lot to do with your health in terms of how your heart operates or your fitness. That is something that people don't really talk about, but the threes represent, like I said, integration, collaboration, strategy. So there's a lack of strategy with your heart. There's a lack of processing. There's a lack of digestion with how you digest information that goes into your heart. So you don't have freedom of how you express yourself from the heart. So there needs to be healing. And whenever you process certain things, especially from the heart, guidance is really helpful, because our emotions can really be intense when we've had heartbreak. And whenever you come from a wounded state like this, it's really hard to collaborate and integrate with other people, because if you can't process how you've been wounded, how can you process how to heal, how to integrate? So this is asking, how can I integrate with other people in order to help my heart heal? I shouldn't do this alone. So this does represent heartbreak, wounds in the heart, but more importantly, how you're processing heartbreak mentally. And then the Four represents structure, stability, and maturity, specifically of the mind and how you speak. In the Swords, Four in general is about stability and maturity. So when you look at this card, you see that there are 4 swords on the wall, and his hands are in a praying gesture, and he's lying down. So this is the rest card. and he's in a sanctuary. So this is about making somewhere a sanctuary or a temple, or going somewhere that is a sanctuary or a temple, honoring yourself, honoring your rest. Right now, if you're getting lethargic because you're working too much, this is a sign to slow down. It's a sign to take rest. It's a time to go inside. But in the reverse, it might mean that you have passed the brink of rest and now you're isolating. You might be depressed. You might be shutting other people out. You might be introspecting down so deep that you've finally hit the rabbit hole. So you're just going way too deep and you need to find balance to come back to the light. So it doesn't mean that you're in the dark. It just means that you've spent too much time resting, that you've become stuck. This means that you need to relax. You need to slow down. This is whenever the ancestors and guides are trying to speak to you, they need you to rest, or clarity wants to come through, emotions want to come through to actually be felt, so that you can reintegrate with the world. You need stability of the mind. In order to get stability of the mind and maturity of the mind, you should rest and sleep. This is also about, I get like brain chemicals that could be out of whack, and so getting your rest is going to allow you to increase your melatonin and serotonin levels, so that when you reintegrate with other people, you could also create this stability and maturity of their mind through your healing, if that makes sense. Let's move on. Let me take a sip. Let's move on to number 5. For me, when I get the number 5 and when I get the number 8 in all the suits, it always pulls me into family, codependency, attachments, and if it's not family, it's a group structure that you see as a family, or that you're with on a day-to-day basis that has a big influence or authority over you and how you operate mentally, physically, emotionally. There's some type of control dynamic because of how integrated you are with these people, whether you want it or not. It affects all parts of your life. So if you're in a job with people who are very involved with you, the way that dynamic is could be a pattern of your family dynamic, or you could take the issues home and now it affects you and your family and how you play a role with your family. So you could be creating a cycle or a pattern because of that group. So the number 5 is almost like the initiation of a group dynamic that is an issue. 5 represents an adjustment. It represents conflict or inner conflict. It represents drama, and it represents being a black sheep, a scapegoat, abandonment, and neglect. All of those things. But it definitely insinuates a transformation is underway. So when I say initiation, if you pull out the 5 of Wands, 5 of Cups, the 5 of Swords, the 5 of Pentacles, typically it means that it's a very present issue. It's not that it just happened 5 years ago, or it's happening in 5 years. It's very present, or it's going to happen very, very soon. So 5 of Swords is an accusatory card. The 5 of Swords is about people pleasing. So if you get this card, you are in a very people pleasing mode. It's a very present thing. You're people pleasing so much that you see people drop left and right. You could do all that you can to keep them and they just drop left and right. You could be overstepping your boundaries. In the Swords deck, it's how you speak and how you think. You assume way too quickly about others, and then sabotage happens. Swords are about sabotage, and it's also about assuming an accusatory energy, people pleasing. So you assume too quickly, so people leave, or you assume too quickly, so people rush in very quickly. And so there's always this battle in your mind over who people are. Are they good? Are their intentions fine? Your intuition is very chaotic because of how quick you move into these assumptions. And how much you please people. So it's like there's no patience with your mind and how you think towards people. You don't give people the time to show up who they truly are. You don't give people time to show up so you have the right amount of clarity. So this is asking you to give people the space, give yourself the space so that you can actually come up with this intuition, this knowledge, and this mentality and this clarity of who they are and what they deserve from you, how to speak to people. Maybe you don't give people the time to learn how to speak to them because people don't listen the same way. Maybe you don't take the time to listen to people. But this is very much so that you've created a pattern of being a people pleaser, or just highly assuming or accusatory in your friend groups and your family groups. You might think that people are out to get you, or people could be cornering you because they don't understand you. And so then you start to shift the way that you act and think that's outside of you just to please them. So that's what the Five of Swords is. Now, the number 6 is about progress. If you look at most of the 6 cards, you would say there's success in it, but some of the cards may come out looking happy. Some of the cards might come out looking semi-sad. In all of the cards, it's about progress. And it's not abrupt progress. It's not like dominating progress. It's kind of swift and soft, steady. It's a very steady energy. And it also includes like divinity. So the softness is in the stillness is filled with comfort. So in all of the cards, there's comfort in the progress. So like the 6 of Wands, she's moving into success and she's crossing the finish line, but the horse is trotting very slowly. And so it's not like a rush into success and people are cheering you on and it's a glorious day. It's a soft progress without resistance, without a fight. And it gives you a very deserving feeling. So that deserving, comforting progress. That's what the number 6 represent for me in tarot. So if I move into the 6 of Swords, so you see how there are waves, they are moving, they're on a paddleboard, so the waves must not be that crazy. It's a man or a dad or whoever with a child and a mother, or it could just be 2 people, but it's 2 people and one of them is a child. And all of these, they're moving into a new way of thinking. They're not, even though they're moving away, they're typically moving away from people, stability, structure. This is the moving card. It's often very physical and mental. So if you're moving because you got a new job, I don't know if you would get this card. This is more of like, I'm moving away from something I've been doing for a very long time. And so there is a little bit of sorrow and grief here, but the progress is for the better. I'm choosing to move away. This is a choice. I'm moving to move into a new way of living, a new way of thinking, and I am moving away actively from people, this place that just doesn't suit me and my mentality anymore. So it's like you're moving into clarity and there's progress with this move. So anytime you get the 6 of Swords, you're moving on. This is just the moving on card. In the reverse, I always feel that you've tried to leave mentally, physically. So in the worst light, if you have someone in a very bad partnership or even in a bad family dynamic, and they've tried to leave many times and they just decide to come back, or they've tried to leave and they are held back and controlled, you might get this card in the reverse. You could even get it in the upright. But in the upright, it means that you are initiating this move. You are moving into a dynamic where this becomes available to you. Number 7 is about resistance, challenge, resistance, challenges, and I wouldn't say adjustment quite, but I would say that there needs to be more of an observation and curiosity. 7s are about where can you be curious? Where can you be observant? So when I say be curious, I don't mean lose sight and lose focus, but it's about curiosity, options, opportunities, but how can I stay focused? How can I still be sharp without missing things? How can I stay aligned? And when it comes to and it's about alignment. Whenever it's talking about the swords with the 7, So this could be that you become so curious that you can be seen as inconsiderate to others and selfish to others, that you may be so curious that you are creating a lack of stability in other people's minds, making other people feel that you don't mean what you say or say what you think, or like when you, it's almost like the cat caught the tongue or curiosity killed the cat kind of a vibe. This could also be like you stealing other people's ideas. And so be careful that other people aren't stealing your ideas and you're not stealing their ideas. People always see this as the cheater card. That could be very much what this is. But the swords represent the mind. So this could be, I'm in this constant battle where I think I only attract people who lie and cheat and steal, or people who are out to just take from me. Or the latter, this could be about you. But the swords represent ideas, thoughts, knowledge. And then he's obviously stealing, but he's making a mess. He's leaving some behind. So when I say be curious and look around and be observant, this isn't something that hard to get away. They're not making it very hard to catch them. Like, it's pretty easy to catch this person. They're very sloppy with what they do. So if this is like about you when you're doing a reading, you could be sloppy with the way that you speak, or the way that, like, if you're writing a caption for an Instagram business post, or if you're, you know, if you're teaching and you're very sloppy with the way that you're talking, people can take it the wrong way. Or you could be using other people's words. There could be a lot of wrongness or fallacy in the way that you're speaking. If you decide to regram a post, make sure that you caption other people's credit. If you have an idea, be sure to give the credit where it's due. If you're in a partnership, don't lie. And if you start to say things, this could even be about white lies or missing details. So it's like paying attention to detail, missing details in little things. If you were to get like the Knight of Swords who's rushing in very intensely in this is someone that's talking too quickly and you miss what they say, or you don't fine tune the details. Signing a contract, so if you get the Justice card in this card, someone's lying about something in a contract, or you didn't read between the lines, or there's something that's unfair because people are legit taking from you, taking advantage of you. This is about taking advantage. So in the reverse, this is someone getting caught red-handed, or you are missing it. This is, it's right in front of you. Whew. We're at 22 minutes, not too bad. So let's move on to the 8s. So remember, I said the 5s and the 8s are about group dynamics, family dynamics, attachments, codependencies, letting go, and grief and sorrow, neglect. So the number 5 was like the initiation and the tower moment, or the transformation, the adjustment, the very present moment. The 8, now that we're moving into the 8 of Swords, this is a lot about, there has been some time. So this could, now it's gone on for a long time. This isn't very present. You'll know exactly, if this card comes out, you know exactly who this is about, who it's with, who it's involving, because it's been there for a long time. It has sunken in for a while. It's very deep, very rooted. It's at a subconscious level. So the 8 of Swords, I might sneeze. The 8 of Swords is almost like it's about mastery in all of the cards. It's like this has been happening for such a long duration, and so it's so, and this is about mentality again, because it's Swords, it's about knowledge. So you see how she's tied up. She's tied up in her mind. She can't see, her intuition's blocking her. She's got all of these things all around her. It's surrounding her. These are people, places, experiences, everything. Everything that comes in is pushed to the back. Everything. She's ignoring everything. The 2 of Swords, where she was blind, she was really just ignoring the 2 things that are around her. There's not so much chaos. This is about chaos. Mental damage. With this card, I always get sabotage, ruin, nightmares, burning bridges with a lot of friendships. It's if you ever have that mom or that dad that literally pushes every family, every friendship to the side because they enable their partner, and their partner controls the way they think, their perspective, what they do in life, and so they are completely controlled by their partner and blinded by everyone because they think what their partner thinks. They are literally sabotaging every idea, every quest for knowledge, every opportunity of intuition and expansion. Every person that comes into their life, they're ignoring it because they're choosing to stay blind to the situation and their surroundings. So this is like very, very deep-seated denial, but this person knows. They know that they've done this, but they feel like they're trapped. They can't get out. So the difference between the Two of Swords is this person is choosing to ignore. This person is tied up. They're not holding the swords. They have gone so far and sunken so deep into this, and it's affected their whole life. It's gone for so long. They don't even know how to get out of it. They are so controlled and trapped up in their mind. This is a mental prison. And so although this is just the way that they think, this person needs therapy. Or they need to prioritize their environment. They need to completely escape their environment. And in all of the eights, I would say that someone needs to change their environment. So this is about a mental prison and being trapped. In the reverse, this could be seen as getting out of the mental prison and untying yourself and removing yourself from a family dynamic, a group dynamic, finally a breakthrough. But in the reverse, it could also be sinking into deep into the mind where it's like a progressive illness. It's starting to become a progressive illness. The Nine of Swords is a lot about nightmares. It's about mental anguish. It's about paranoia, seeing images that are very disturbing. I honestly, like, people who go into psychosis or disassociation will get this card. And the 8 is like that progression into this one. Sorry, my card just so messed up. But this one is still progressing into that progressive illness. So this is paranoia, lack of clarity, hesitation, psychosis, so much information in the mind, in the visuals. This could be an overactive third eye. This could be like having a lot of negative energy around you and absorbing everyone's negativity. And there's no separation. Things are so clamped up. See the swords? They're stacked right on top of one another that you feel like there's no space, no time to think. You hear all these voices. You have the angel and the devil on your side, and they never shut up, and you just don't have any silence. And so this is about going out into nature, getting outside of the bed, being able to clear the mind, because there's a lot of mental anguish here. So if you get this in the Two of Cups, you could be paranoid about a partnership, or you could have sleepless nights about a partner, or partnerships could create a lot of paranoia for you, or you could be having nightmares about a partner. If you were to get this and the King of Swords, this could be looking for a mentor. Or it could be like the King of Swords is about control and authority. If you got the King of Swords in the reverse in this, someone could be controlling your mind and getting in your head. So pretty simple. The nines are a lot about the end of the chapter. This is like the hardship of the chapter. This is where everything starts to sum everything up. You have the opportunity to close out a cycle or to remove yourself from it, and often at the very end of the cycle it is the hardest. And so this is more about internal conflict. Often you are by yourself and you are cautioning. It's about caution. I am cautioning myself from other people, other experiences. I have removed myself. And so, but now I'm dealing with it on my own, and I have the opportunity to close out the cycle and move forward into a new cycle, a new beginning, or complete this cycle, because you're not quite at the completion. You have to finish out the feelings and the turmoil of it before you finally move into closing out the cycle. So this is, I'm very close to closing out this hardship, but I'm not quite there. I have to deal with the last bit of healing. The number 10 is like that chapter is finally ending. So this is rock bottom. 10s are about rock bottom, completion, summing everything up. The 10 of Swords specifically is rock bottom, stabbed in the back, betrayal. But it's often about overcoming the triumph. In the reverse, it's a very good card. I have finally closed the chapter to this. If you've been going to court for a decade over a trial, and finally someone wins, or like if you think about the Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp trial, if, you know, at the very end, once a decision is made, or even before the decision is made, when you know who's going to win because evidence comes out, this in the reverse is like, finally we can close out this chapter and move on. And no one else is talking about it. People are drifting away and moving on to something else. So this is now over. The upheaval is over. Like this would be, like for Amber Heard, immediately whenever she gets the decision, and she gets, I don't know, she gets her sentencing, she might feel like everyone turned their back against her and that she has been defeated and she is at rock bottom. And so if she decides to come out and tell the truth, she's probably at the 10 of Swords. So the 10s are about completion, the finish line, overcoming challenges, but it's also the rock bottom. So if you have been drinking alcohol for all of your life and you finally, you know, hit rock bottom and now you need to go to AA, rock bottom looks pretty ugly. So I'm not saying this is a beautiful card. It's a beautiful card because endings bring new beginnings, and rock bottom means you're finally able to recover, on your way to recovery. This is about recovery. This is about the damage done. And so this is really about the damage, but now we can start to repair. And now let's move on to the Knights. Knights represent, let me just say the bad first, inconsistency, fickle energy. It also means quickness, intensity, movement. It's happening now. Rush. It's rushing in. The Knights also represent, all Knights, Kings, and Queens represent some form of protection, whether they are there to protect you or you need to have protection for yourself. And so if we're talking about the Swords, protection of the mind. So when you see the Knight of Swords, someone's rushing in with an offer really quick, or a decision, or communication. Someone's coming in. You'll get a message soon, very soon. So if you were to get like the Ace of Swords and this, you're going to get a message very soon that brings you clarity, brings you truth, honesty, or just someone decides to rush in out of nowhere. This is honestly like a surprise. Knights can come as a surprise. So if you've been applying to jobs a whole lot and you haven't had any communication and you get the Knight of Swords, you're going to be getting feedback very quickly, very soon. You'll know what direction you need to go in. Or if it's about you, you might be moving into a situation where you need to speak very quickly. On the ladder, whenever I get this card, I get, if this is someone coming in towards whoever I'm reading for, towards me, this card is telling me that I might be with people who talk too quickly or offer me things too quickly, and I need to ask them to slow down, or I need to slow down with my decisions. I need to slow down with making this decision. There's no need to rush into this. Someone might be rushing you to make a decision. They might be pushing you to make a decision, pushing you to think a certain way. So you need to slow down and honor the pace, be more patient. And the reverse is like you need to be patient. This could be someone that's very quick with their words, and they might slip up. You might not see the detail. If you are the type of person that makes decisions impulsively, it could create some mental anguish down the road. which is why we have the whole suit of the swords. So just be careful with making decisions too quickly, speaking too quickly, or taking on too much that your mind doesn't have any more clarity. You create a foggy mindset. In the reverse, this just means something's blocking you from being able to speak or hear people, or things that move too quickly block you from having any clarity, and so you remove yourself completely from the situation. This could also be like you shutting someone out who's trying to come in, and they just keep trying to come in. So honestly, if I were to get this card, it's almost like if you have a family member that tries to push your boundaries and get in your way mentally, or tries to overstep their boundaries with how they speak to you. They speak over you and you block them, and they try to come around, and they use other people to try to butt in too. So the swords are all about communication and mentality. The Queen of Swords, this is a very Gemini card. This is about cutting people out, cutting people off. In the reverse could be about, oh, sorry, that's what I was missing. This could be about someone interrupting you constantly. They don't let you speak. Same with the Queen of Swords and the King of Swords. Someone that interrupts you, they don't let you speak, they don't give you a voice. But in the upright, this is someone that is challenging you to speak, and they're watching and they're listening to every word that you have to say. You cannot manipulate this person. They are looking for that. They are very hyper vigilant. They are very cutthroat. They are very logical and analytical. This person isn't quite in their emotional realm, shall I speak. This person can show signs of lack of empathy, but this person is I wouldn't say a mentor. You could totally have someone like this that is a mentor, but this is someone that is there because they need to protect themselves. They have been through some shit, and they have had to cut people out because people do not respect them, and so now they are in the mode to demand respect. In the reverse, this can be over-dominating the way that you communicate. You're very over-dominating, and I think I'm going back to the Amber Heard trials, but they were talking about, her marriage counselor said that whenever they would go to marriage counseling, she noticed Johnny never had a voice because she had a very, what was the word that she used? She used a word that started with a P, but the way that she spoke was interrupting and harsh, and it was demanding, and it was mean, and it was concrete, cemented, and it gave him no way to speak. She barricaded him, so he had no avenue to speak. Before he could even speak, she interrupted him, and she was always loud. So this, in the reverse, that's what I would say that means. So this is not giving anyone a voice, anyone an opportunity to come forward, to speak their truth. This is telling people to speak their truth, telling you to speak your truth, but it's also, there's a lack of emotional openness, heart awakening here. But this is definitely throat opening. The King of Swords, last but not least, the Kings represent control and authority. So if the swords represent decisions, clarity, knowledge, and the King represents control and authority, you could be a teacher, or you could be a mentor, or you could be dealing with one or the other, because those have authority and knowledge and truth. This could be decisions. So if you're in this energy of the King of Swords, you have a lot of mastery and knowledge over what you're talking about, and you're able to control the environment easily in a very masculine way. So for the Queen, she's able to control her environment. Like, this is a lawyer, this could be a judge. So someone that's very, like, she is listening, she is analytical, but she is able to control the environment and how people speak without creating chaos and confusion. Same with him. He's able to control the environment without creating chaos and confusion. Things are very clear, they're very precise, and he has a lot of authority with the way that he speaks. He speaks very slowly, and he listens to every word. He has a lot of intuition, so he doesn't just think logically, he does have a lot of intuition. But again, the swords don't really bring in a whole lot of emotion. So when he thinks, you might think, does this person understand me emotionally? He just doesn't allow emotions to control the way that he thinks, the way that he processes information. So when you get the King of Swords, it's a very good person that you'd want as a mentor, because if you're coming in and you're very emotional, this person's not going to hug you. They're going to help you process those feelings. A lawyer is not going to get soaked up in your emotions. They're going to give you the practicality and the logic and the analysis to move forward and have progress. And so if you're sitting in this energy, you're sitting in the energy to truly have regalness and to receive respect from the most authoritative way and the most respectful manner. So I am going to post this on YouTube. I'm going to do all of the other suits. If you guys enjoyed this, let me know. The whole series is going to be up for $80. You can purchase that on my website. If you want just the suits individually, they're going to be $30 for each video. So $30 each video, which is going to come out to $112. Or you can do, actually I'm going to do 5 videos. So that's going to be $150, or you can get the whole thing for $80, which is a huge discount. So let me know if you want it. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Let me know if it was confusing. But I love you guys. Thank you for supporting me.